Hello, hello. This is the My Artifact episode number 3416. Today's date is 15th of May 2025. It's been almost like a morning at 8:33 a.m. Okay, so directly jump into the question. All right, let's go. Yeah. Uh, okay. Yeah. So, question is, how might we learn to observe the world without prejudge or bias? Okay. Okay, that's a really good question. That's a really good question. Okay. Yeah. Okay, first of all, what is this question and where is this came from? Okay, so a couple of weeks ago I was actually watching the Demons of Leonardo. It's a web series, it's based on Leonardo da Vinci. If you don't really know who is the Leonardo da Vinci, the person who draw a world famous Mona Lisa painting, that guy, he is not just a painter, he is master of multiple things. While I was watching that particular show, I was really influenced by his thought process. I wanted to think like him, so I went to ChatGPT, asked that he suggest me such a question so that I would think like Leonardo. So this is one of those questions. Question is, how might we learn to observe the world without prejudge or bias? What is actually meaning of that? Okay, okay, so we are human. Okay, I am a human, you are human, everyone are human. Okay, yeah. And everyone has its own thought process, and definitely our thought process is completely different from each other. You probably notice this thing. Okay, yeah. Like your close friend, your family, your mother, your father, yeah, probably. It's just like even if you are relatives, still your thought process are bitterly different. What is the actually meaning of that? Okay, so I'm gonna give you one incident. Okay, yeah, and you have to judge. Okay, I'm gonna try to figure it out what is exactly your judges and things like that. Okay, so there is a girl. She went to college. Okay, yeah, like she done your high school and she went to college. Her age is almost like a maybe like a just 18. Okay, yeah, 18 or yeah, just 18. Okay, yeah, and she went to the college and she was kind of like a somebody explore this college world and she was really fascinated by this thing. She was like a really amazing things that um because she was kind of like a something very young. She has a kind of like a something very like a as a young woman na, like not only the young woman but as a any like a young boy or young girl are really excited for explore the life and things like that वगैरह वगैरह. Okay, yeah, so she fall in love with someone guy. Okay, yeah, then that person is kind of like a something, yeah, they both fall in love and within a couple of months she they had a sex. Okay, yeah, and they had a sex, then probably like without protection, yeah, like basically they are just a teenager and things like they don't really know nothing about what they just had a sex and things stuff like that. Okay, yeah. After a couple of months later, the girl is kind of like a feeling something not good. Okay, she went to the doctor. Doctor says that you are pregnant. She has kind of like some exam in next couple of months. Okay, yeah, and she is pregnant now. She was like a damn scared, literally damn scared. She don't know what she's supposed to do. Okay, yeah. Now she was talking to that particular boy. Okay, that key like I'm pregnant. Then that boy is a kind of like a something was really scared because this is that guy is also really not matured. Okay, yeah, he was not really handle that particular pressure and stuff like that. He says, I don't know, I didn't really did that. Okay, yeah, he just completely neglect that thing. Okay, yeah, because he don't want to be kind of like a somebody spoiled his entire life for kind of like somebody having baby and stuff like that. Okay, yeah, so that girl is kind of like a went through very health situation. Okay, yeah, she been through breakup and things like that because of this happened. Okay, yeah, but important thing is that ki baby is coming. Okay, and how did she manage? Okay, yeah, so when the baby is almost like a 3 months. Okay, yeah, she decided to abortion. Oh yeah, but her age is kind of like a something that her age is almost like a 19. Okay, yeah, probably she adult now, but she's almost like a 19. But if you wanted to abort the baby, it is really essential for like a consent form. Okay, yeah, like if you went to abortion, things like that, na. So the consent form is really essential, not from the kind of like a something from mother of the child, but as also the father, or as also kind of like some parents of mother or father. Okay, yeah. So basically it is really essential for kind of like a execute this uh, killing the baby thing for like a, she need a kind of like a some sort of support, and not support from kind of like a friend, support from family. Okay, yeah. So she was kind of like a went to her mother, say that ki ma'am, like a mom, this happened, this happened, and I am really fucked up situation. Now mother is understand. Okay, at that time she realized that ki okay, like this is a mistake. Okay, yeah. And it is like it is the first thing that we should supposed to do is that ki abortion. Okay, yeah, instead of kind of like fighting each other and who is this boy and what is actually your life and stuff like that. As a mother is a very matured. Okay, yeah, mother went to the hospital with her daughter, and kind of like without telling her father. Okay, yeah, like father is kind of like something very scary if they know about this thing that might be kind of like something wrong. Okay, yeah. So basically mother and daughter went to the hospital and did the abortion process and everything, and they came home. Okay, yeah. Now this is kind of like a something a situation. Okay, yeah. Now you have to judge. I'm gonna ask this question. Okay, yeah. Did this girl did something good, like whatever the action that she did is good or not? Well, everyone has its own opinion. Oh yeah, like before I'm telling you your opinion. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna tell you where is this opinion came from. Okay, yeah. First of all, our opinion are based on where we live, where we grown up. Okay, yeah. What is our surrounding, what is the situation, and what is actually the things that we consume, and because of all those things surrounding it, kind of like impact our thought process as well as our decision making process too. Okay, yeah. And it kind of like a resonate the personality too. Okay, yeah. So basically is this thing, if you are kind of like a somebody person who are kind of like a came from very small town, small village and things like that, and like this is the kind of like a first thing that you are hearing, like a hearing means like that kind of like a something that this is actually kind of like a something happened with your friend or things like that. Okay, just imagine stuff. You are kind of like a judging this thing, like is this your age or stuff like that, like you have to study or focus, you have to focus on study and things like that, this is not things and something like that. So yeah, you are kind of like a judging, you have kind of like a putting your opinion to her and things like that. Okay, yeah. Is it wrong, or like a basically if I'm judging kind of like a some sort of situation or some sort of people, is it bad? uh no, it is not bad. Okay, but let me tell you one thing, like let me tell you after this thing. Okay, let me tell you after this thing, this key, if like is it good or bad. Okay, yeah. But like your judgment is actually, as I mentioned, is based on kind of like a something where you are, you whatever you from and your surrounding. Okay, yeah. So basically you are thinking that ki, this is not the age of kind of like a doing this shit and kind of like had a sex and stuff like that, so it is not good thing. Okay, yeah. uh, let me tell you one thing, this is kind of like a something that ki, you are hearing this thing from third point of perspective. Okay, third point of perspective. So it's a kind of like a something that ki, you don't really connect with that particular thing. You just think that ki हाँ ये शायद गलत है, but okay, yeah, like basically you just you, it didn't really affect you that much, na. Okay, because everything is actually happened from like a miles away from you. Okay, so you don't really worry about this thing, and it's kind of like you are kind of like consuming this information from third point of perspective, so it is nah. Okay, yeah. Now I'm gonna tell you my experience. Okay, yeah. So there is an app called Clubhouse. Okay, yeah. Clubhouse, I'm not really sure am I correcting this thing. Okay, what's a Clubhouse? A Clubhouse is a kind of like a something app where it's a kind of like a something chat room. Okay, yeah, means like that ki you just log in into that particular app. Okay, yeah. And in the like when you log in, you just kind of like a select your genre that you wanted to talk, like a science, love, relationship, or kind of like a somebody, whatever the topic that you are kind of like interested to know the things like that. Okay, yeah. So you select that thing and you just log into the homepage. Okay, yeah. So what exactly that app do is that this app is a kind of like a something a chat room, as I explained earlier. The chat room means like that the people who are always talking, like basically always talking about the some certain stuff and some certain thing. Okay, yeah. So basically what does it do is this kind of like a something a chat room, where this chat room has a kind of like a something a genre regarding about what they are talking about. Like almost like a couple of people, like maybe 20 people are kind of like a somebody talking on the, like basically on the phone, like on the phone, but without any visual, like no, just audio. Okay, just audio. Okay, yeah. So people are kind of like a talking on kind of like somebody is this thing. Okay, like it's kind of like something very hard to explain, but you just kind of like Google it, what is exactly the clubhouse, you will figure it out everything. Okay, yeah. So this is exactly what this app. Okay, so I was kind of like something open this app, like there is a chat clubhouse. Okay, yeah. And there is a kind of like some chat room. In that chat room they are kind of like talking about the love and relationship stuff like that. I was really interested. It's like, yeah, okay. So I entered that chat room. Okay, yeah. And I was kind of like listening their chat. Okay, chat means like that, not just kind of like a somebody text chat. No, they are talking. Okay, yeah. There is a girl talking about this and that. There is a girl who's actually talking about this and that. Okay, okay, all those people are kind of like a somebody from Metro City, probably. I'm not really sure, but the way that they speak might be kind of like a feels like that Bombay or Delhi, something like that. Okay, yeah. So I was kind of like somebody listening this thing. Okay, yeah. In this particular chat room, there is a girl named Akansha, probably. I'm not really sure the word, but yeah, like in her profile, she kind of like say Akansha. Okay, yeah. Now she was kind of like telling her experience regarding about when she lost first time the virginity. Okay, so she mentioned like a way she mentioned that he like her age is almost like a 19. Okay, yeah. And she had a sex in a car with a boy. Okay, yeah. And she feels really good, really great, and it was like a really amazing experience from her point of perspective. Okay, so basically I am consuming this information from like basically from her point of perspective, means like that like she had a sex and she was kind of like telling us like, and basically what the fuck, ये क्या हो रहा है, like हमें यहाँ पे हम basically I was judging myself. My age is almost like a 31. Okay, yeah. Okay, I never really have any girlfriend, never really had any sex, and this kind of like somebody that it's kind of like somebody very very far away from me, and I never really think that I would kind of like do such thing like that. But that girl, that Akansha girl, is almost like at the age of 20 or 19. I'm not really sure. She had a sex with a boy in a car. Like, what the fuck? And she didn't really stop there. Okay, yeah. Means like that she had a sex with this boy. Okay, yeah. Now after 2 days later, she had a sex with another boy. It's like, what the fuck? Okay, means like that she put the condom and stuff like that. Okay, yeah. It's well protected. Okay, so she had a sex with 2 days ago. She had a sex with the boy, and 2 days after she had a sex with another boy. Okay, yeah, with in a bathroom or something like that, or maybe I don't know. She mentioned that thing. Okay, yeah. And when I heard this thing, I was like, dude, भाई दुनिया कहाँ पे जा रही है, like all those people are going far away from me and I'm so left behind. I was like, what the fuck? Okay, yeah. And basically I am the kind of like some the only one who's kind of like amazed from this information, because other people are not. Other people are not. Because other people are kind of like say this thing, oh yeah, just 2 days, yeah, like she other guy, like there is another girl say that just wait for a week and then after you do sex with another person. Like they are kind of like complimenting this thing. Okay, yeah, they are not resisting this thing. I was like, ye kya ho raha hai, what the fuck is this thing? Okay, yeah. I was like, what the fuck? Okay, yeah. And she was not bluffing, by the way. Like the way that she was kind of like telling her the every detail that she been through and everything, like उसने सब बता दिया कि like how his penetration happened, how the foreplay happened and everything, and way that she put the details and emotions into it. I just felt like that this is kind of like something very realistic thing. Okay, yeah. So I was like, dude, okay, and everyone is actually talking about same shit. Like this happened, this happened, this happened. I was like, what the fuck? ये क्या हो रहा है? Okay. Now then I realize in myself, okay, um, that key like I don't know what exactly is this thing. I just don't know. Okay, so in that particular chat, I was kind of like a listening this chat. This actually happened during the night. Okay, these are sexy talk is actually happened during the night, and I was kind of like a listening, putting on the headphone and stuff like that. Okay, so you can talk on that particular chat room. You just have to raise your hand. Okay, then admin will kind of give you permission to, you could talk, you could kind of like give the advice and stuff like that, but you just have to raise the hand first. Okay, so I put the raise the hand. Okay, and then after that, after a couple of like a 15-30 minute, they kind of like something that, okay Saurav, batao aap. Okay, आप बताओ आपकी स्टोरी, when did you lost your virginity? Okay, and I was like really fucked up. Okay, so I went to the rooftop. Okay, and I was kind of like somebody say this thing. Okay, listen guys, I'm 31. The way that you kind of like a experience regarding about losing your virginity, I'm kind of like a simply amazed by the way that you do, and way that, like, basically what I'm trying to tell you is this thing na, the things that you experience at very very early stage of your life, and I haven't really experienced those things. And like, is it kind of like a somebody blame on me, like am I kind of like somebody very wrong person? Basically I do look little bit something good, but it's like that ki I'm not really bad, but as also is this thing na ki I never really experienced this thing. So is it kind of like it's only my fault or something like that, or whatever it is? Okay, so I was kind of like telling, being really honest. Okay, in that particular chat room. Then the admin says, okay, admin was a boy. Okay, so admin says that कि सौरभ आप कहाँ पे रहते हो? Okay, don't mention your city. Okay, basically mention that कि which city, like a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. I mentioned that I live in kind of like a some tier 3 city. Okay, a very local city. Then basically, okay, so basically what exactly happened, that he, I was like really scared. Okay, like I mentioned this thing, then that admin says that कि आप कहाँ से रहते हो? I'm say that कि I am from tier 3 city and this that. Okay, now that admin says that कि do you have any kind of like girlfriend? I says that ki sir, like I did like a kind of like some girl in a high school. I approached her, but probably that girl didn't really have that feeling, so I just never really looked at any girl, and that's why since then I just kind of like a simply alone. Okay, basically he mentioned that, okay, by the way, that boy, the admin boy, is at the age of 23. Okay, basically he's still 7 year younger than me. Okay, and he's kind of like giving me advice. Okay, with very politely. Okay, he says that ki, listen dude, I am 23. Okay, and I did little bit of experience some sort of stuff regarding about sexual and things like that. Okay, what I'm trying to tell you is this thing, having a sexual thing with someone else is not kind of like a somebody considered to be a higher priority or higher standard, nothing really at all. It's a kind of like a somebody experience. He mentioned, he mentioned very politely, he mentioned that ki it's based on your surrounding, dude. Okay, as you mentioned, you are kind of like from the local city, so it's kind of like a something that ki you don't really get that kind of like a something, the influence of that thing. Okay, but most of people in this chat room are from kind of like a something metro city and stuff like that, and this is kind of like a something very common. Like people do usually hook up and stuff like that, and they do talk about the stuff and stuff like that. So all those people have little bit experience, but you are actually from the local city, so you don't really knew that. So it's not something really wrong, no, nothing really at all. It's a kind of like a something that ki don't really judge from this point of perspective. Okay, it's a kind of like a something, it depends on that key experience. Okay, like basically at the age of 31 you experience something really really amazing thing that we don't really experience. Okay, basically you went to the college and things and that you are kind of like doing a job and stuff like that. So probably is this thing na ki your experience is kind of like telling who you are and what you are. Okay, and other people have very different experience. That means they are not kind of like a something that ki higher and lower of you. No, it's a kind of like a something different than you. That's it. Okay, so he mentioned that it's not like, don't really think about that, a kind of don't really judge and things like that. It's a kind of like a something common. And basically if you went to the another community, means like that if you went to US or Europe or any kind of like a some people, when you interact those people, they have very kind of like a cool opinion regarding about having sex with someone and stuff like that. And way that he explains this stuff, I was like, dude, like I'm 31 and you are actually giving me advice. And I just felt like that ki, like it's not the age, it's not the number, it's a kind of like a somebody experience that we grown up to. Okay, yeah, we kind of like a somebody realize that ki what is exactly the value in our life and what is actually experience that we get. That experiences tell us how good you are, how better you are, and how amazing you are. It's not kind of like a something like that ki how what is actually age or number it is, nothing really at all. Okay, yeah. So I was like, dude, I'm kind of like a thankful for your opinion. That is really good and best of luck. And like, thank you, dude. Okay, yeah. And he left with another one. So like basically I realized that na ki this is kind of like a something bias and judgmental is kind of like a something like that ki based on where you are, what you are, and stuff like that. And when we first time experience such a thing, we just kind of like a something amazed by that stuff. Okay, I'm gonna tell you another experience. Okay, okay, still I'm kind of like a somebody like, let me tell you one thing from my point of perspective. I am belong to the local city. Okay, I'm still living in local city. I never really live in a metro city, nothing really at all. Like maybe I live for a couple of days maybe, but nothing really at all. I don't really have that much exposure of living in metro city. Okay, all my conditions and all my experience are actually happened through my local city point of perspective. Okay, nothing really at all. Okay, basically is this thing just maybe couple of year ago I went to Bombay. Okay, maybe in 2016, maybe, yeah, in 16, yeah, 16 or 15 maybe, I'm not really sure. Yeah, so in 2015-16 I went to the Bombay. Okay, yeah, because at that time I wanted to be a filmmaker and stuff like that, so I went to the Bombay. Okay, one of my relatives are actually living there, so I'm kind of like a something have a place to stay. Okay, yeah, for a couple of days. Okay, so I went there. Okay, yeah. Now basically is this thing the like basically the like there are cousin over there, like basically the relatives are my atya. Okay, yeah, so atya has a kind of like a something child, and like those are my cousins. Okay, yeah, so I was kind of like living with those people. Okay, yeah, those cousin are also kind of like a something like a less than, like a basically it's younger than me, almost like a 2-3 year younger than me at that time in 2015-16, I'm not really sure, but yeah. So we went to the morning walk. Okay, early morning we are went to morning walk in Bombay, Delhi. Okay, sorry, Bombay. Sorry, Bombay, not Delhi, Bombay. We went to morning walk. Okay, and I was like really amazed. Okay, first of all is that okay, at that time this is the first time. This is the first time I seen a girl on kind of like a something like that, like a a, a, a what exactly is this thing? It's a like the upper part called top and bottom part. I'm not really sure what is that called. A pant maybe, but like it's not the pant. Like it's not full pant. It's a half pant, but it's not even the half pant. It's even more halfer than that. Okay, yeah, okay. So basically, it's like this pant is actually it's a pant. It's not a bikini. It's not a bikini. It's a pant. Okay, yeah. So this pant is actually cover up like only the genital and stuff, like rest of the from thighs to toes, everything is open up. Okay, everything is open up. Okay, so this is the bottom part. Top part is kind of like a something she was actually wearing some sort of sports bra, something like that. Okay, yeah, I'm not really judging. Okay, yeah, but like, this is the first time I'm kind of like experience this thing. Okay, and this is the first time I see the woman, see the girl from this outfit. Like basically I seen that particular stuff in the TVs on, yeah. So but when I see that thing in real life and very close by, like basically when I was walking, there is a girl is kind of like somebody from back and she was went ahead. I was like, what the fuck is this? Ye kya hai? And basically her entire backlace was actually only covered by this brass straps, sports brass straps and stuff like that. Okay, yeah. And rest of the body is kind of like something just nothing. And I was like, what the fuck is this thing? Ye kya hai? Okay. And basically at that time it's almost like a morning at 7 a.m. and I was like, I was like, what the fuck is this thing? Okay. And they are morning walk. They are kind of like a woman is actually jogging, having a headphone and stuff like that. I was like, I was started judging. Like basically, I'm a boy. I'm wearing t-shirt and pant, full pant by the way. Okay. Okay. And I think that I am kind of like a something modern. Like I'm considered to me to myself that I am kind of like a something modern style. Okay, yeah. But when I went there, I see the woman in this particular dress. I was like, ये क्या है? And this is common. Okay, like it's not just kind of like a somebody one or two. It's most of them. Like there are aunties too, there are uncles too. Okay, yeah, but they don't really worry about this thing. They are just common. Some of the girls are kind of like a wearing this thing, and I was like, okay, even my cousin didn't really blink that thing. Like my cousin is kind of like used to with this thing. He says that yeah, it's a common thing. It's a like basically that girl kind of like he knows that girl like she was kind of like a from the society things like that. So like and kind of like everyone is not judging her, but I am the one is kind of like judging her. So I felt really wrong. I felt really kind of like somebody blaming to myself. Bencho, kitna fucked up load hai, dude. You are kind of like suddenly judging that girl. I was like, what the fuck is this thing? And this is what kind of like assembly is this thing na ki in my entire life in my entire condition I never really seen this kind of like assembly woman or never really seen this thing. Like a scene means like that I never really seen from naked eyes. I seen this thing on the television or internet or things like that, but in real life when you see that thing it was kind of like a very different experience and you don't really comprehend that information. It's kind of like something very new to you and it was kind of like something just like oh my god. Okay, yeah, I was like really blunt. At that time, I was kind of like putting a lot of imagination regarding about her. That ki, why she wearing this thing and that and that and that. But I mentioned to my cousin. My cousin says that it's a very common. It's a kind of like a somebody okay. It's nothing really at all. Okay, yeah. And another cousin says that ki, I seen even more less close than her. So it's not really that much. When people don't really take. And when he mentioned this thing, I am blaming myself. That who the fuck am I kind of like blaming this thing? And it's like that ki, dude. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna tell you another experience. Okay, yeah, in 2018 or 2018 or 19 I was kind of like doing a job in Nagpur city. Okay, yeah, so basically I have kind of like a night shift. My night shift means like that from 4 p.m to 11 p.m. Okay, 11 or 11:30 p.m. Okay, yeah, so this is my kind of like a shift time. Okay, yeah. By the way, my room is kind of like a very close to the office, so it was kind of like a something. The commute time is very less. Okay, but it is little bit away from it. By the way, I'm actually living at kind of like a something very posh area at Nagpur. Okay, yeah, like it considered to be kind of like something very rich people over there. Okay, yeah. By the way, I'm kind of like living there by the rent. Okay, yeah. So my shift was over it. Okay, my shift was over, and I going to my room. Okay, yeah. Now basically is this thing I seen there is a guy, okay, yeah, who has a bike, a pulsar bike. Okay, yeah, and there is a girl, okay, who is kind of like a sitting behind. Okay, yeah, this is not kind of like a only personal. Okay, sorry, this is not a personal, sorry, this is not pulsar bike. This is kind of like a only Yamaha FZ or FZS, I'm not really sure. Okay, yeah. So let me tell you regarding about this bike. Okay, this bike is kind of like a something meant for sports. Okay, yeah, like you just have to sit and things like that. The passenger seat is kind of like only very higher. Okay, yeah, from the driver seat. Okay, yeah, like it's actually like if you see the any sports bike, it's kind of like a sort of design in that way. Okay, so so in the passenger seat there is a girl was kind of like somebody sitting. Okay, and at night at almost like a 11:45 p.m. maybe. Okay, yeah, so I was kind of like coming from office to home, office to room, and there is a girl with that boy with that bike kind of like going through, and it's just very close by. Okay, yeah. Now let me tell you one thing, that girl is also kind of like wearing this bottom thing like that, which is kind of like a very less than half pant. Okay, yeah. And as also she was kind of like wearing this it's not a bra, it's a kind of like a something that a crop top probably. Okay, yeah. So yeah, that I'm not really sure about that thing, but yeah, it is a crop top, means like I could see her cumber, I could see her, yeah. Okay, uh, so I was kind of like only walking. Okay, yeah, and couple of feet after there is a speed breaker. Okay, yeah. So the boy and girl with the bike kind of like a somebody very close to me and kind of like a went ahead. and there is a speed breaker. When that speed breaker, when they went from speed breaker, and it's a kind of like a something, the like a basically it's a street light, the visual are kind of like a something very bright, okay, at that time. Okay, means like that moment was like the speed breaker. Besides that, there is a kind of like street light. I was kind of like somebody going from left, and there is a boy and girl kind of like a went ahead. Okay, so because of this speed breaker, that boy kind of like a somebody little bit break the bike and kind of like a somebody go slowly. When this thing happened, my visual window is almost like a maybe 2 or 3 seconds. Okay, yeah, because ahead it's a kind of like a somebody dark. Okay, yeah. So I seen like there is a first time I seen the woman leg. Okay, yeah, it's like that massive. By the way, that girl was bit really chubby. Okay, yeah. By the way, if you are judging to me, okay, judge me. Okay, yeah, judge me, because like basically I'm telling my experience. Okay, yeah. And by the way, my experience is kind of like something raw and kind of like something true. Okay, yeah. And this is what I experience. Okay, yeah. If you wanted to judge me from my condition, things like that, that is okay. Okay, this is what kind of like something question is about. But let me tell you the story. Okay, yeah. So she was kind of like wearing this thing, and when that speed breaker happened, I seen that thighs has kind of like a something that it is like it was too much. Like basically, I never really seen that much big thighs. First of all, a woman big thighs. Okay, yeah. Another thing, the women thighs are so so bright. Okay, what is the really meaning of bright? A bright means like that, na ki, like look at my thighs. I have so many hairs. Okay, yeah. But that girl didn't really have any hair. Nothing really at all. It's like complete white. I'm not really sure how do I supposed to explain this thing. It's complete white. She was kind of like wearing some sort of heel or things like that. Okay, yeah. But her thighs and legs are kind of like something so smooth, so bright that I never really seen. First of all, another thing is that when they went from when they went from that kind of like a speed breaker, their thighs are kind of like a do luthud. Luthud means like that. I don't know how do I supposed to explain. It's a kind of like only go upward and downward. So it's a kind of like all the muscles on the thighs are kind of like only go and down. It's like it's a big kind of like only muscle na do kind of like a luthud and things like that. Yeah. So it was that. Okay, yeah. I seen it very closely, and it was like, what the fuck is this thing? Oh yeah. And then after that, I seen she was actually wearing crop top maybe, and I was kind of like seeing her entire comer, and not just kind of like a tiny comer. I'm just seeing entire, like literally almost like a maybe like a 15 to 20 centimeter, like it was that, like completely, like basically that crop top is kind of like somebody covering just a boob part of area. Okay, that's it. Oh yeah. Means like that her stomach and back are kind of like a something crop. I don't know how I supposed to explain this thing, but yeah, nothing really. She was not wearing, and her skin may be kind of like a something very bright. I'm not really sure, because in that particular light, in that street light, like entire body is kind of like a something glowing, like from her thighs to comer. And I'm actually seeing some sort of kind of like a something that belliness on their comer and things like that. But this is the first time I experienced. And by the way, I seen this thing almost like a maybe 2-3 feet away from me, and I seen this thing from naked, and I was like, what the fuck is this thing? Ye kya hai? Okay. Okay. And after the speed breaker, they went ahead with very rapid speed, and everything is kind of like a something just like happened so fast, and I was like, what the fuck? Okay, yeah. And time is almost like a 11:47 p.m. Okay, yeah, almost close to the midnight. Okay, yeah. And when I see this thing, oh my god, like I am living in this Nagpur city. Okay, yeah, and people are doing something very crazy shit, and I am not doing this. Like I'm just doing fucking job and nothing. Okay. I was kind of like judging myself. भाई मैं कितना पीछे हूँ यार. लोग यहाँ पे 11:15 या 12 लड़की को लेके घूमते हैं. Maybe they having a sex after that, and I was like just doing a job and fuck, like just like fuck. Okay. So there is lot of thing. Okay, yeah. So if you are judging me from this judgmental point of perspective, that is true, because I am come from this kind of like a somebody surrounding where these are kind of like a stuff that probably you won't be able to see. Okay, yeah. And if there is a woman is kind of like a doing this thing in my surrounding area, so people are kind of like a looking at. Okay, yeah. It's a very Okay, yeah. So this is what kind of like a some stuff that I experienced, and I was kind of like a things. So regarding about the judges and bias, okay, so like I'm gonna ask this question to myself, that he the like the all those things that I kind of like somebody experience and telling you all those things, okay, yeah, I did judge regarding about everything, where this girl came from, what she gonna do after this thing, everything, okay, yeah, I did judge, okay, yeah. Is it wrong? Basically this thing, it is not a wrong and it is not a right to, okay, yeah. As I mentioned earlier, that boy, that admin boy in the clubhouse, they actually mentioned that it comes from the experience, okay, yeah. It comes from the experience, like from your point of perspective, you think this is wrong, like wearing this like a naked clothes in the public, it's kind of like a feel really wrong. But it's just like that ki when you experience through this thing, it doesn't really matter, it's nothing really at all, okay, yeah. It's kind of like a simply the way that you perception the things that, okay, yeah. Because this is the first time I'm experiencing this thing, I just kind of like a simply feel overwhelmed and everything, okay. Because it's kind of like a very crazy experience. But it's just like that people who live there, like my cousin and like the people from the chat room, are kind of like a something just very common, they just didn't really feel a thing. And this is what kind of like a something happened, like basically these are kind of like a something experience comes from like a experience come from surrounding, and that experience gain kind of like a perception, and it kind of like a looking at the world, like how do you look the world, okay, yeah. So regarding about that, am I did something wrong, like regarding about judge, like I did judge that girl, I did judge on that particular girl on that clubhouse, am I did something really wrong? No, it's not, it's a kind of like a some experience. Because uh, why it's not wrong, okay, yeah. Because let me tell you one thing, I'm from India, by the way, I'm from India, and all those situations actually happened in India, okay, yeah. I'm from India, and India is a very conservative country, okay. If I'm trying to kind of like somebody compare from other countries like a US and Europe, they have kind of like somebody very straightforward, okay, yeah. Like they don't really think about that stuff and stuff like that, okay, yeah. But I am come from India, very conservative, like the people are here are very conservative, almost like maybe maximum people are kind of like being from very conservative things like that, okay, yeah. So having this kind of like a something like a something that ki like a naked body, or kind of like a half naked body and stuff like that, it is kind of like a feel really taboo. And at some point, at somewhere, it might have little bit kind of like a add protection to the community. I'm not really sure am I kind of like a right or not, but because let me tell you one thing now, ki in metro city this is kind of like a something very common, but in the local city this is not common, this is kind of like something very rare. And why this kind of like something rare? Because of that ki people are not really used to with this thing, okay, yeah. And uh, and and it is something like a why it's kind of like something good is because of that na ki usually people, or kind of like a somebody perception of the people are kind of like a change according to the time. It's not gonna happen just couple of days and couple of work weeks and months, no, nothing at all. It kind of like a something the entire generation required to understand this thing is kind of like a something very common. Like basically let me tell you one thing na, okay, yeah. Ki my father, my parents are kind of like a think that ki doing a job is a kind of like a something something that ki something like that ki something like that a good thing, okay, yeah. Means like that doing a YouTube and stuff like that, it's not really good thing, okay. It's really wrong, okay, yeah. But in the future this is what kind of like a somebody society wants, because in the future job is not going to exist. Okay, in the future you have to be develop some sort of skills and talents, and then you have to show the people and stuff like that, and then you will start earning money, okay, yeah. But the older people might not gonna understand, so they don't really understand the gravity of the YouTube and stuff like that. So my parents are not really allow me to do YouTube and stuff like that, but still I do, because I'm kind of like acting as a rebel and stuff like that, okay, yeah. But it's kind of like a something like that the why does they think that? Because they haven't really seen this YouTube and internet and stuff like that. Like they always think that na ki YouTube and internet is kind of like a something stuff for hobby, or maybe kind of like a something just do entertainment or do any kind of like time pass, so that people would kind of like do the time pass on internet, okay. Because this is what kind of like something they meant from. But since I'm born in 1993 and kind of like something I experienced this thing, I realized that internet is not just kind of like a place for entertainment. No, people are kind of like a develop their mindset and stuff like that. And I develop my mindset, I learn a lot of skills from the internet and YouTube, watch tutorial and things like that. And it added so much value in my thought process and stuff like that. So yes, okay, like basically these are kind of like some of these stuff that I mentioned regarding about the sexual thing and stuff like that. It is kind of like a something I seen this thing on the television or things like that, but when I seen this thing in real life, I was kind of like a some feel really amazed and stuff like that, and I did something really judge. Okay, yeah. And this is what kind of like a somebody how the society is actually improve. Okay, like regarding about me, if you are kind of like a thinking about kind of like a somebody judging me and stuff like that, ki why are you judging and stuff like that, it is kind of like a something very common. Okay, yeah, it is kind of like a something common, and this shift mindset will, this mindset will gonna shift. It takes time. Okay, and that time is kind of like a comes from experience and stuff like that. Okay, yeah. So this is what it is like a this is what, but something na ki I I kind of like a realize myself. Okay, yeah. That world that we knew it. Okay, yeah, the world that we knew, we think that ki world is smaller. Okay, like we have internet, we have thing, I could connect with a person who's actually far away from miles away from me, and yeah, it's kind of like a somebody just we think that ki world is kind of like a somebody very small world, but that is not true. World is so big, so huge. Okay, yeah, it comes from very ethnicity of the people, very different kind of people have very different interests looking at the world and stuff like that. And when you first time experience this thing, you realize that, oh my god, this is a kind of like a some experience that I never really experienced. So yeah, having judgmental, having kind of like a some bias at some point, it kind of like a something good, but you have kind of like a something like that ki perspective, you have to look at from different point of perspective, that ki this is kind of like a something okay. Okay, in this world, in this kind of like a world, we are living in very different kind of people, and each different has, if each different people has its own different thought process, and because of because of his thought process, he kind of like did something really crazy that other people kind of like is amazed by that thing. So that is true, by the way. Okay, important thing is that ki you are judging, that is okay, but you have to be kind of like a somebody accept that thing. Okay, accept that change, and that is kind of like a somebody very essential thing for um probably that ki observe and without things like that. I did like this is what kind of like a stuff that thing. All right, yeah, it's really good. I don't know, but yeah, it felt really good to talk about this thing. Okay, yeah. All right, this is it. I should supposed to end here, and thank you.